For a more in-depth look at some of today's top headlines, we're joined again tonight by publisher of the Quorum report, Harvey Kronberg. Harvey, good to have you back in the studio.
Must be a Monday.
It is a Monday. Here we go. Lots to cover. Usually a government shutdown is blamed on the party in power. That's the big talk of the weekend and heading into a big decision tomorrow. Do you think that a government shutdown will happen? And which party will be held responsible for that?
I do think it'll probably happen, and I think it's going to cause some economic havoc. The Bureau of Labor Statistics numbers are supposed to come out on Friday. We have the shutdown tomorrow. Those won't come out. We won't have any reading on inflation. And I tend to think at the moment that the president will be blamed, and simply because his approval ratings are so low. Democrats have to have a message, and the only party that has lower approval ratings than the Republican Party or the Democratic Party is the Democratic Party. But the fact that the president is so far underwater on virtually every metric right now, it's hard for me to believe that he won't be the recipient of most of the blame.
Now, what does that do for the midterms in 2026 then? Because that could have a big impact in some of these South Texas seats that are very, very competitive. We've heard Democrats already talking about what the Republican tax bill has done to the economy in these South Texas districts.
Well, I don't think most people know that with the within a few weeks, the Obama subsidies, the subsidies for Obamacare are about to evaporate, and most people are going to see that we're receiving subsidies will watch their insurance premiums double. That's the kind of message that the Democrats are going to have to focus in on and try and get across the board, and that has a disproportionate impact the further south in Texas you go. And in addition to all of the immigration issues, it seems to me that it weakens the Republican hand going forward. And again, while those may be the most competitive, those districts are still drawn pretty thin for Republicans.
Well, we'll see what happens with that. We all certainly hope to avert a government shutdown, but it does seem to be going that way. Speaking of elections, Governor Abbott made an interesting comment last week when he told a conservative Christian group he would, quote, be guided by God in deciding on whether to run for the White House in 2028. It's a little bit different from some of the answers we've heard in the past. What are you seeing in the tea leaves there? Are we seeing a burning bush in the governor's future?
Well, considering the history of the Bushes in Texas, never mind. Bad one.
Harvey. All right.
Okay, so religion has never been really a part of Governor Abbott's rhetoric. What has been consistently part of his rhetoric is trying to figure out where the party is going and getting in front of it. And the party right now is morphing into a Christian nationalist, particularly the primary voters are morphing into Christian nationalists. That is going to be the rhetoric for the primary in 2026 and for the primary in 2028. So I think he's just so planting seeds right now.
But he's been so demure in the past. He sort of joked, is there a higher office than Texas governor? He's never said no, but this is kind of, it's leaning towards a yes now, maybe.
It certainly leaves the door more open than we're used to. J.D. Vance does not look like a particularly strong candidate going forward, and Texas, for a Republican, Texas has a lot to brag about. He's always tried to put himself in the pathway of it, but he's never been quite so overt.
Now, let's take a look at the other side of that race, which is the Democrats. There is a Democrat announced, Bobby Cole. But in terms of big names, there really hasn't been one announced to run for governor. What does this say about the Democratic Party? What does this say about their bench?
Well, I think Andrew White is also announced.
That's right. I'm sorry about that.
Yes.
Yeah, Andrew White also.
Which is a historical name, but didn't really cast much of a shadow in the last gubernatorial primary. The rumor mill has it that Gina Hinojosa, state representative from Austin, very articulate Latina, is going to announce. Again, not the kind of big name per se that, say, a Ron Nirenberg from San Antonio or some of the other names that have been bandied about, Beto O'Rourke or whatever it may be. But they're going up against a guy with $100 million war chest and a pretty damned effective machine. So
it's a big hill to climb.
Yes.
Harvey, thanks for joining us again.
My pleasure.